Salesforce, one of the largest employers in the Bay Area. Apparently, they have laid off a few thousand people in support engineer roles. Let's get into it.
The biggest employers in the Bay Area is cutting thousands of jobs because of AI. So what should you be doing if you're worried about losing your job?
Let's start right there. What you should be doing is what you should have been doing all along, and that is upskilling. Improving yourself, thus making yourself more valuable to the company, thus constantly moving up. That's what you do. When you have these roles, and it can be, you might notice that you do the same things over and over again, or you're in a role where you tend to answer the same types of questions. You tend to field the same type of tickets that are open. When you're in these type of roles that are very repetitive like that, just know there's a good chance you could be replaced. But if you are constantly upskilling, you have a lot less to worry about because you most likely won't be in that position forever. So that's the first thing you should be doing, upskilling. But that's something you do regardless of the market. Always upskill. Let's get back to it.
Let's bring in our business and tech reporter, Scott Budman. This isn't just a worry about the Silicon Valley or tech workers. This could be widespread.
Right. Very true, Raj. I mean, at this point, AI and tech are linked because of all the money involved, because of the technology, and let's be honest, a lot of the hype that's involved here. But machines that can handle certain tasks are being used a lot, and they're taking the place of humans. Salesforce has been on the front lines of the AI revolution, building what it calls Agent Force to boost its customer service. Now the company, a longtime Bay Area tech giant, says it will cut 4,000 jobs. Salesforce tells NBC Bay Area because of the benefits and efficiencies of Agent Force, we've seen the number of support cases we handle decline, and we no longer need to actively backfill support engineer roles.
Okay, so again, if you are in a support role, just know you could be replaced. And it's not only support roles, it runs the gamut. Because even as we sit here right now discussing this, there is someone out there that is trying to figure out a way to replace you. No matter what it is that you do, and you could be of the mindset, my job specifically, oh yeah, they can't replace me, or they can't replace my job. You need a human to do it. There's some guy, some girl, in a garage, in a bedroom, somewhere right now, programming and figuring out a way to replace you. So don't be so naive to think that it won't happen to you. You want to be prepared for something like that. You want to be in a position to where it doesn't matter so much. And you put yourself in that position by becoming more valuable. That's the biggest thing you can do. Just become more valuable. And you can have arguments all day long about, yay, I still became more valuable, but I still got replaced. But look at the entire landscape from a macro view. If you become more valuable, if it happens and you're replaced by AI, you can also go someplace else and get picked up a lot faster. A problem we see with a lot of AI replacement is that people become stagnant. I got the job, Now let me just stay there. I got the job. I'm in. I work for Salesforce. Get in there. You work for Salesforce, Google, pick any FANG company, this company, that company, Exxon Mobil, Procter and Gamble, whatever the name is. When you get in there, take advantage of all the educational opportunities that they make available. All of these large companies, they usually pour a lot into education and educating you. Take advantage of it. Study for a PMP. Go to a boot camp, get your PMP. I'm just thinking of things off the top of my head. Learn coding in large language models. Prompt engineering, something as simple as prompt engineering. You can be the person in your organization that you understand nuance and you understand that, your prompts are this long. They're a novel and they take you a half hour to write. But your output is way different than anybody else's. You can take all these documents. You can formalize all these documents for your office. You can be that person, but all of that takes upskilling, going beyond your job. Remember, once you get the job, that's just the start. That was just to get you the ID that tells everybody else, I belong in here. So I can come in and I can roam around freely. But then once you do that, do your job, but then also upskill. Let's get back to it.
There have been layoffs all over America directly attributed to AI.
HR consultant Lori Rudiman says AI is affecting jobs in several fields. She says if you want to stay employed or are looking for work, new skills are needed, not just contacts.
If your network could get you a job, it would have done it already. It would have done it yesterday. So it's on you to really expand your vision, expand your horizons.
So that's another thing. That's a great point. Your network, you constantly have to prune and care for your network. You're constantly pruning your network. Again, going back to what I just said, a lot of people will get the job and just, that's it. I don't need to do anything else. I did it. I did the thing. No, you have to upskill. You have to build a network. You have to prune that network. You have to care for that network. You have to grow it. And if you're doing these things, AI replacement won't really bother you that much. But if you are someone that just goes to work and you just do this, in times of old, this was fine. Do the job, do it well. But in today's times when things move so fast and we're living through a time where the future of work is, it's being created. It's being fiddled with, and we're trying things and, oh, this works, this doesn't work. What's on the other side of this is a totally new way of working, a new workforce, a new dynamic. And we have to be mindful of that. So constantly upskill, work on your network. You should be reaching out to people on a fairly regular basis. You should be having coffee chats. You should be having virtual meetings, drinks after work, whatever it is, grabbing coffee with people. Whatever it is, you should be doing that on a regular basis. And when you do those things, if AI happens to replace you, okay, cool, no problem. Give yourself 90 days. I'll be right back.
To meet new people.
As for AI itself,
this is a giant hype cycle.
Analyst Ed Zitron says it's being blamed by tech companies that overhired during the lockdown and are now looking to lure investors by claiming to be more efficient.
It's just the growth of all.
See, I don't know if I agree with it being a hype cycle. And I say that because I think it's an experimental period. Like we started off with the original version of ChatGPT and how rapidly we advanced to ChatGPT 5. And now we have Gemini, and then we have Claude, and then we have, Grok and all these things. It's an experimental period. So we're working out the kinks. But I do not think it's a hype cycle.
Cost mindset. The only thing that's important is growth, even if it ruins people's lives, even if it makes the company worse and provide an inferior product.
That's very interesting. That's something that we don't talk about too often, that they're just going to trim no matter what, regardless of the AI.
Yeah, and that's part of the cycle he talks about. Hey, you want to help the stock price, you want to convince Wall Street that you're doing the right thing. Right, exactly.
Yeah, we've gone through that. What other industries are impacted right now? We can talk about next year and 2 years, but right now.
Really?
I mean, that is a benefit to the company. Oh, we actually do not need this role. So we cut that, and then we can have a machine do it. It's really no different than, 15 years ago when we started putting up landing pages and, creating funnels and things like that. Your sales page on your website, that's a salesperson that works 24/7. So I no longer have to constantly market and, physically do these things. And I can have my sales page on my website running 24/7, and there's a contact form there. Think about that. That sales page and that contact form replaced me having to do it. And it's always on 24/7. So I can receive an inquiry from someone at 2 o'clock in the morning. And depending on how I automate the responses, they can get a response back, even if it's something as simple as, hey, I will contact you, in the next few hours. They still got a response back. But, me trying to sit there and keep up with all that, and, man, I don't need to now. I have a website that has a sales message on it, a contact form. I have an automated email sequence that goes out to that person that reached out to me, and it'll help me set up an appointment to get them in. I mean, the AI replacement revolution is really no different than that. So I get the benefit to a company. And for an employee, I think you should maybe use it more as a motivator to upskill, to develop your skills and, do more, become more valuable. Because you're not only becoming more valuable to the company that you work for, you're becoming more valuable to the entire marketplace. So if you are, working for Apple as whatever engineer, and you start upskilling and improving yourself, making yourself more valuable to Apple, you are also inadvertently also making yourself more valuable to the entire tech marketplace. Because there's Apple, but then there's also Samsung. There's also Google. There's also and on and on and on. So you're becoming way more valuable. So it is in your best interest to do so.
Anything that deals with customers, that deals with the public, sadly, is in the crosshairs. All of Hollywood is talking about this. Anything that's artistic and creative, they're talking about replacing with AI. For many of us, at least old school people, no, you need a human touch. But again, that efficiency goal.
that human touch eventually is going to be one person managing the entire AI workforce. So you're going to have all these agents and you're going to have one person that manages that whole thing.
Gets in the way, and they say maybe we can do it a little better and definitely do it cheaper with robots.
We're not old school, we're middle school.
Okay,
that's how we see it. Last question for you. We likely to see, when are we likely to see more layoffs like this, at least under the AI umbrella?
I think it's coming soon. Salesforce is a leader in getting AI into the consumer space. It's a giant software company. It sells a lot of that, but they're...
That's another good point. When you think about Salesforce and their CEO, Benioff, is it Benioff? Yeah, I think it's Benioff. They are very, very vocal about pushing AI. So think about how many customers that they have. So it's not just Salesforce saying we're laying off people, but Salesforce, I would imagine, is also going to talk to your company because they have an account with your company and your company uses their, let's say, their CRM, right? Salesforce is going to eventually talk to your company and say, oh, we noticed you get this amount of, this amount of requests. Why don't you just check out one of our agents? We'll give it to you free for 6 months. Yeah, try out the agent, see if it can cut down on all your... And then eventually that company, which is not a tech company, which is not a big name company, but, a mid-market firm in, some obscure niche or something like that, they try it and they're like, oh, wow, that worked great. And, this could be the auto repair company or something like that. And they're like, oh, it worked great. And then now they have that and they no longer need to employ humans. And then Salesforce reaches out to another company, this mental health firm or, any of the tens of thousands of companies that work with them. And they're going to tell them all the same thing. You need to be using AI. So then it's not only Salesforce, it is every company that they can touch, that they do business with. And they're like, listen, you actually don't need this. You can cut down on all your support. Think about all the people that call your business every day. Have you thought about this? And you can get rid of this. And how much would that offer to, how much would that add to your bottom line? And, being able to cut these positions here and da, 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 da. So it's not only Salesforce, it's all the companies that Salesforce touches. So don't just think it's limited to these large tech firms. No.
There are many, many other companies that line up behind it. It'll be interesting to see if they say, okay, if Salesforce can do it, we'll do it too. That's what we'll be watching for.
And Salesforce is kind of setting the tone here for the entire industry.
Perhaps that's what we'll be watching for, yeah.
Thank you, Scott.
You bet.
So yeah, I think the big takeaway here is certain jobs are going to be replaced. I think the big takeaway here is, yes, certain jobs are going to be replaced, but you can do a lot to make sure that you're fine. Upskill, constantly improve your skill set, your value to the marketplace. And then your network, constantly work on your network. Prune, care for, grow that network. So if you do happen to get laid off, you have a network that is very supportive and, oh yeah, him, Michael, yeah, come on, yeah, I got you, yeah. Those type of things happen to people that nurture their network. So, Yeah, let me know your thoughts down in the comments, and yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Peace.